We in Texas tend to think that we have all the beauty of America, but there are some other wonderful scenes. We have dig-in crews that go to Chicago and to Denver. Let's take a look at the Illinois Prairie at sunrise. It's a beautiful part of the United States. We knew you would enjoy this little travelogue. We need to get out and see our country. There's a lot of America worth looking at. And now let's take a look at another part of America. This is the Cessna House, a house with an unusual twist to it. It's near Boulder in Erie, Colorado.
Hi, I'm Ransom Beagles with Our Design Landscape Architecture, and we are at the Air Park residence near Erie, Colorado, which is east of Boulder, and we're in the Erie Air Park neighborhood. And we picked mass plantings, which would be big groupings of the same plant material. And what that does is it allows the watering to be more consistent, and it also cuts down on the amount of weeding that you'd have because they can grow in and create kind of a carpet of texture. We selected pine trees and we put them in locations where the wind would typically come from, and so they create sort of a wind block. Also, where the drainage comes down, we selected plants that enjoy having a lot of water, but it can also adapt to dry conditions. So you can see some of the native prairie grass over on the side here. Why don't we take a look at the back, and I can show you some of the great features, including the pool, fireplace, and patios that we have on that side. This house is oriented to create a space that faces to the south and west, which is great because it allows you to have these beautiful views to the mountains. But one of the issues is that it can be very windy and it can be very hot. So this nook became a really interesting area where we actually had a chance to have some shade, and we wanted to create a unique setting for that. We thought it would be really interesting to have a staggered effect with the pavers. And what we did is we broke them up and used dark crushed stone in between. It allows the drainage to infiltrate into the ground in between the paving rather than just having a slab of concrete where it just kind of runs off. And we had an interesting problem we had to solve in that we couldn't take any of the water that hits the patio and drain it into the pool, and we had to capture that somehow. And the way we did that was, again, taking these strips of crushed stone, and this time using a decorative white stone, and having them slope backwards into a planting bed that is filled with horsetail or equisetum. And so what we've done is take all the water that flows from the patio and run it into that bed, and it's captured there, it sits there, and then the plants really thrive in that condition. So the way we determined the form of all the plant beds was thinking about how it would complement the architecture and then also pull your eye toward the site. And so the landscape always responds to the views that you have from the inside. And so no matter what kind of style of home, we always think it's really valuable to run parallel and perpendicular lines in your plant beds. And that way it feels like the home and the landscape are really working together.
Well, that was interesting. I think I want to have a hangar at my home, don't you? Everybody ought to have one. Thank you much. We're going to take a visit to Weatherford. Our friend Stephen Chambly is going to look in on a wildflower meadow right after this message.